We're going to explain how to add WPI wholesale price index data to an Excel spreadsheet using an API post request. This involves several steps, and we'll cover them one by one. First, you'll need an API that provides WPI data. Many financial data providers offer APIs, but you'll need an account and API key. 2. Once you have your API, examine its documentation to understand the endpoint for post requests and the required data format for sending WPI data. This often involves JSON, JavaScript object notation. 3. Now let's focus on Excel. Excel itself doesn't directly handle API calls, so you'll need a tool that bridges the gap. VBA, Visual Basic for Applications, is a good option for this, providing scripting capabilities within Excel. 4. Within VBA, you'll create a function or subroutine to manage the API interaction. You'll use VBA's XML HTTP object to send the post request. 5. The code will start by setting up the XML HTTP object and specifying the API endpoint from step 2. 6. You'll then prepare the data payload in JSON format. This JSON data must precisely match the API specifications, usually including details like the date, commodity, and WPI value. 7. The next crucial step involves adding the correct headers to the request, typically specifying the content type as application JSON. This tells the API that you're sending JSON data. 8. After setting up the request, you use the XML HTTP object's send method to transmit the JSON data to the API. 9. The API will respond with a result, which you'll need to process. The response will usually indicate whether the data was successfully added or if there were any errors. 10. You'll parse the API's response using VBA, extracting relevant information, success or failure, error messages. 11. Finally, you'll incorporate error handling within your VBA code. This means including checks to catch potential issues like network errors or invalid API responses. You might display error messages to the user or log them to a file. 12. Remember, you might need to adjust the VBA code slightly depending on the specifics of the API you're using. Always consult the API's documentation for precise details on request formats and responses. Successfully adding WPI data via API post into Excel requires understanding both the API's requirements and VBA's capabilities for making HTTP requests. This process automates data entry, saving you time and reducing manual errors.